AstroBots. Some grown men will never touch this game. They are missing out on a dear experience in life. This game made me feel like a kid again. I feel like 10 years younger. At the ripe age of 41, I have to continually test my reflexes to make sure the shit actually still works. And this was a great test. I completed everything in this game because I absolutely enjoyed it. So before I get started on the visuals of AstroBot or the visuals within AstroBot, I would just like to say a few disclaimers. One, I am in fact an artist in disguise as a gamer here on YouTube. I am actually an artist that likes video games, and what you see being made to the side is actually the painting I am currently working on. So you may realize that the same art is being showed week after week after week. That is because I am actually working on the same painting week after week after week. So if you're interested, you can go back to my old videos and continue watching my videos to see the whole progress of the artwork being made to the side. So it gives you an incentive to come back. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Just joking. Anyway, no, but I'm being serious. Subscribe, for real. Because we're at over 2,000 in under a year. That's pretty good. So subscribe. Join a community of people who actually like video games, who actually appreciate the visuals that go into them. If you don't care about the visuals, you're in the wrong place. Or maybe you're in the right place, because maybe I can convince you to appreciate the visuals in video games. On to AstroBot. This game won Game of the Year this year at the Game Awards, and I am very happy it did, right? I personally wanted Balatro to win because that has been the most enriching experience I've had in a very long time when it comes to games. And I'm not even talking about enriching as in like it's making my life better. I'm talking about enriching in terms of my gaming palette overall. I play a lot of video games, so when you take a new spice and you throw it into my food and I love it, I appreciate it. And Balatro is that spice. That game has a certain little bug that sticks right up in here and goes up to your cerebral cortex and takes over everything for hours. That is why I'm so tired today, because last night I was in my bed playing Balatro. Yeah, that game is a masterpiece in my book. But my personal favorite game of the year is actually Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But I think Balatro deserves the win. But this game got it. So let's get back to AstroBot. I'm too hyped. Okay, this game makes me happy. So that's why I'm so happy, because I finished this game a couple days ago, day before yesterday, and I am still feeling the effects of playing this game. So let's get into these notes. That's how the game makes me feel, man. When a game does that, it makes you feel young again, make you feel rejuvenated. That's a good sign. Like, how can a game about a little robot make me want to work out? That's wild. It's wild. It's wild. Anyway, on to the notes. Again, this game made me feel like a kid again. I had to test my reflexes on this thing. I had to get everything. And honestly, it was not my intention to get all of the bots, right? I just wanted to play the game and get the core experience. You know, beat all the levels, all the bosses, maybe all the extra, bonus levels and such and such. But I ended up, in fact, completing everything, meaning rescuing every last little bot there is. And these are the reasons why. But first, again, a little quick rundown. This is not my first encounter with the little robot, right? It is actually my third encounter. I actually played VR rescue missions back on the original PSVR. It is in fact the greatest experience, in my opinion, on that platform. But unfortunately, a lot of my brethren around me didn't get a chance to play it because it was on VR, and no one is trying to give up those dollars for a VR they'll only use a couple of times like I did. I probably played like 4 games. But that experience is an experience that should be experienced, because AstroBot on the VR is incredible. I remember telling my brother, yo, this little robot that's dancing his ass off at the end of every stage platforms like Mario. Not better than, I wouldn't say better, but like very close to Mario in a great way. Then I played AstroBot Playroom, that was free with the PS5, did everything in that, got all the robots, the little bots, same thing. No bot left behind is what I say when I play AstroBot. And that was a great, I think, 4 to 6 hours. If you have a PS5, please check out Playroom, especially if you've never played AstroBot before. And last but not least, Astro Bot. I was excited to see that the little bot actually got the respect the little bot deserves. I was so afraid that this guy would never get his own game. The first official tissue full game, non-VR, non-demo type experience got Game of the Year at the Game Awards. And I'm gonna keep gloating about that because I'm happy. I'm happy. When things win, I'm happy. I'm not like some folk. How did that win, man? It should have been Final Fantasy, man. It should have been Bless You, man. Nah, man. I'm happy, man. I'm happy. But I cannot continue to gloat about AstroBot without paying homage to where AstroBot came from. The influences that are readily seen while playing this game. When you're playing AstroBot, you may see the remnants of the jumping god, that of Mario. So Mario 64 all the way up until Mario Odyssey, you can tell that the people who made AstroBot, they know their shit because they study the Marios. Mario has some of the best platforming around, and I am very glad that that influence was enough to influence the development team that made AstroBot. And this is apparent in all of the AstroBot games. I get reminded of a ton of games while I'm playing AstroBot. Sonic, I did a couple of things in the game. I'm like, this reminds me of Sonic. It's like Sonic Adventure, like the 3D ones. Yeah, there's a little bit of that in there, right? There's a little bit of Mega Man, right? There's a little bit of even Crash Bandicoot. And I don't like Crash Bandicoot. I think he's hella lame. I had a discussion with my friend Nemesis about this, and I came to the conclusion that he looks like a hairy-ass Doritos with jeans on. And I never liked Crash Bandicoot, and I probably never will like Crash Bandicoot. He looked like he belongs in the back behind the shed. And I'm not messing with Crash Bandicoot. But I might play his game if it comes out and have the quality of AstroBot. How come he never wears a shirt? Okay. So this game is essentially the celebration of all things PlayStation for the last 30 years. A timeline that I am quite familiar with, given the fact that I've been a fan for so long. But you know how you're a fan of something, but you don't really consider yourself a fan because you kind of see PlayStation as a means to an end to play the games. I was never a big fan of the console war. I kind of stopped doing console war stuff back in the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo days. I never got into the Xbox versus PlayStation versus PC or whatever. I just buy everything. Like even now, they announced the Switch 2, you best believe I'm gonna be trying to get that. I got an Xbox Series X downstairs, I got a gaming PC right here, I got a PS5. I just love video games, right? The thing about AstroBot is, I know it's supposed to be a celebration of PlayStation, but for me it was actually a celebration of everything gaming, to be honest, right? The reason why I'm saying this is because of the influences that I just mentioned earlier in the video. The game just feels like a celebration of all of the platformers that I've loved over the years, and I appreciate that about AstroBot. One thing that I really like about AstroBot is actually the endemic life forms. The raccoons, the squirrels, the crocodiles, the bears, the cows. Literally every sentient robotic being is designed like the bot. Like the bot is seen in all things. There's something super adorable about this little guy. And I feel like Sony knows that. So they said, you know what, team? Let's put his face on everything. Even things that don't make sense with a face has the AstroBot face. And I think it actually works. I think it really works most of the time. It is a pleasure to run around these worlds and you're literally seeing a different rendition or variation of the bots. And this is through and through from beginning to end. Even peripherals has the Astro Bot treatment, and I really appreciate that. And I mentioned Sonic and Mega Man, right? In Sonic and Mega Man, we have Robotnik spawnlings who are pretty much animals that have been turned into cyborgs, kind of robot things. And a lot of the endemic life, not necessarily the enemies, remind me of actual Sonic. Like if you go back and you look at Sonic 2, if you jump in that big ass canister, you're gonna see a lot of animals come out, and that's because Dr. Robotnik was essentially torturing them and turning them into the little robot creatures, right? Mega Man, a lot of the enemies look like they could literally jump over into AstroBot realm. And I really appreciated that sometimes I would see something and I would just immediately think Mega Man. And I like that because it makes me think about possibilities that can be possible if a development team made a Mega Man of this caliber. Oh man, Capcom, come on, get on this. But the endemic life wouldn't shine nowhere near as brightly as they would if they weren't set in amazing worlds. The worlds are so much better than they were in the previous installments of Astro Bot. I don't want to go into detail what kind of worlds exactly because I want you guys to experience it for yourself, but let's just say the Sony spirit imbues everything in the shape of an X, a square, a triangle, and a circle. And it is delicately done and it is beautifully done. I mean, from little things like raindrops to sparks, to big ass controllers, to sentient shapes. It all just fits that whole PlayStation motif. They do a very, very good job. And it's not to the point where it becomes annoying. They do it in little subtle ways, as I mentioned with the raindrops. So I think that this design choice was a very, very smart choice because honestly, outside of this game, I don't really think much about these shapes, right? Like, I think I am more so attuned to seeing like Mario's hat than the PlayStation shapes. So it's really cool that they constantly use it as a design element within the AstroBot worlds. And honestly, I never got tired of it. Yeah, I never got tired of it. I just don't like the shapes with the eyes. I think that's a bit weird. They should have had AstroBot faces instead of the goofy ass eyes. But that's neither here nor there. I really like how the worlds look expansive, but the game is not actually an open world game. Yeah, the levels are a little longer than they were in the previous installments, but I actually want them to be bigger. I hope this team gets another go at another AstroBot and introduce us to Astro World. I want this world blown out. I want it to be big. And this is probably one of the few cases where I actually desire an open world because I want AstroBot to essentially go into the direction of Mario Odyssey because I feel like this team, they're very good at hiding things in these worlds. They're very good at making the world just interesting with the amount of different activities that they're getting you to do with this little bot. So I want to see more of it. Let's make it big. Yeah, know? Make it big. Okay, amazing worlds. Love seeing actual costs. Okay. This is really cool. And at first in VR missions, I thought it was a little corny. Man, I was so happy. My camera was too low, so you guys were probably seeing like all of this cropped off. Hey man, I'm an artist, man. I'm not a what are those things called? What are they called again? I'm not a camera person. I'm not a film guy, all right? I'm just an artist trying to make art. That's why I'm so eccentric. So I hope this view looks a lot better than half a head. You know what I'm saying? All right. Okay, so at first I was kind of put off, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of put off by seeing the peripherals of PlayStation in the game, in the original VR game. But I quickly got over it within like the first 15 minutes, right? So seeing peripherals that I haven't seen in a very long time, it actually kind of tickles the nostalgic muscles a little bit, you know what I mean? And I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing because a lot of times we tend to forget the tech that we actually loved at one point, right? All right, just looking for something, all right? Like I still have my Vita, right? So seeing tech that you used to love, like the Vita, like the PSP, come back and actually come back to life within the game is actually pretty cool, because it reminds you just how much you used to love these things, and now they're like relics. They're relics. We never touch them anymore. We never use them. Like, I forgot that this thing actually has a touchscreen on the back. So it's kind of interesting that Sony decided to go the way, or PlayStation decided to go the way of nostalgia, but in a different way from the way Nintendo uses it, right? So Nintendo, they'll kind of stick within the games, right? You don't really see like a big ass Nintendo 64 like flying in the background. You're not gonna see that in Nintendo, and I'm very glad for this division. I like the fact that they're saying, hey man, we put time into this hardware matters, and your ass should see it again and again and again and again. Seeing the peripherals, the memory cards, the controller ports in the game, a huge plus in my book. I like that little breakup in the world. It's a nice little visual touch, really nice. I also love the theme of the worlds. I think it's fantastic. I'll just say real quick, I really love the casino world. I think the casino world is fire. I love the powers that went into the casino world. It's just a great looking world. I love the look of gold and metal and the neon lights and the spinning roulette machines and the slot machines. I don't gamble, but I've been to Vegas and this looks kind of cool. It looks cool. I like it, right? It's just a great level. Another one of my favorite is actually a bamboo garden. I love bamboo gardens in games, even though I heard you were not supposed to walk through the Torii gates. Sony have us doing that within the first 5 minutes of the level. So I just think the bamboo stages are really, really nice. And I really like the power again in that stage. The use of water in that stage is amazing. For those of you who played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the sponge power. It's pretty nice. It's pretty dope. And I think my number one favorite thing about the worlds of Astro... This thing is sliding. Yep. I knew I wasn't going crazy. My tripod has become sentient and it was steadily lowering itself while I was recording. Yeah, and because I was talking, I wasn't paying attention. So when I would look up, it would be at a different position, but I fixed it, I think. So please excuse the amateurness of my recording. Okay, back to these worlds. The best thing about the worlds in Astro Bot, in my opinion, is actually the worlds based off of gaming franchises that we've played over the years. I'm not even going to spoil what franchises are in this thing, but let's just say it's some of your favorites, which is a good thing. One in particular that I have to mention, however, is a little game that came out way back when, I believe it was on the PS3, I think, a game called 3D Dot Game Hero. Now, this game was a game that didn't review too well, you know, when it first came out, but I was very fond of 3D Dot Game Hero because it reminded me of A Link to the Past, mixed with a little Final Fantasy, mixed with a whole lot of 16-bit 3D-ness, and I really like that. So to see, yep, today is the day of interruptions. Today is the day of interruptions. My alarm just went off for no reason. But anyway, to see the resurgence of 3D Dot Game Hero so many times within AstroBot makes me wonder, are we eventually going to get a new and improved 3D Dot Game Hero? Maybe 3D Dot Game World or 3D Dot Game Hero 2? But I think we need this. I think we need another Dot Hero game. We only had one, right? And I feel like that game was pretty fun. You could break that game in so many pieces. So that leads me on to like one of my favorite things about the worlds within AstroBot, right? I love two things the most. I love liquids and I love particles. I love the amount of things that bounce around, whether it's sprinkles, bolts, acorn, it doesn't matter what it is. If there's a lot of it, it just looks really, really, really freaking cool seeing things just move around. I remember back on the PS2 and the PS3, things like this would never happen, right? So to be in a sea of sprinkles and the sprinkles actually move, like something is actually moving around in the sprinkles, I think is fantastic. The way this game uses liquids as well, not only as a visual element, but as a gameplay element, but not like Mario Sunshine, not like that way, not like strapping on a book bag and using jet streams to get around type of way, but in more of like a puzzle solving type of way. I really like all of the liquids in AstroBot. I think there's something about it that just works. And I'm not just talking about like water. I'm talking about mud. I'm talking about snow. I'm talking about lava. All of these things just look great. And I absolutely love the interaction between AstroBot and these elements. I think it works wonderfully, and I can't wait to see what they do with this type of tech in the future. So I can't talk about the worlds without talking about the thing that encompasses the worlds. The world map. Okay, I'm a sucker for all things space, right? I love painting planets. I like painting galaxies and stars and stuff. I love doing that, right? So anytime a developer uses a world map or the world's map and it's a galaxy, I automatically give them brownie points because I just love seeing it. I love interacting with it. I love seeing comets and stuff fly by. I just love seeing that stuff, right? But in AstroBot, what we use to get through the vastness of space is actually a PS5 controller. And I am a bit on the fence about using this device as a spaceship simply because I feel like it's Sony trying to advertise controllers that we don't have access to and we will never have access to. So that leads me on to the next thing I love about this game, the damn PS5 controller and all its renditions, all its different color options that we never get. We never get Sony. Like really, the controllers in this game look fantastic. Almost too fantastic. And you know what's the weirdest part? While I was playing AstroBot, I may have been too intense with my controller, but all of a sudden my X button just stopped working. The weirdest shit happened. I went on Reddit. Reddit said to smash the controller twice to make the controller work. I just thought it was a bunch of trolls. I thought it was some stupid ass thing people were just saying. But then I went to a YouTube video of a guy taking apart his controller and the same comments kept repeating. So I said, all right, Jabu, I got a second controller, so if all things fail, I'll just use that one. Gave it 2 slaps, didn't work. Slammed it on the ground, picked it back up, worked like a charm. X button working, fully functioning. Very good. So the fact that Sony uses this controller, this peripheral, to fly around and show off all the colors you can choose is actually quite nice. Within the game, but outside of the game, in real life context, I want those controllers because the controllers look amazing. Yes, I just want more controllers, man. It's like I want a design factory for my controller. I want to customize now. I'm in my 40s. Let me get my choice. And on to the star of the show, Astro Bot and the Astro Bot army. Okay, so this game did something to me when it comes to collecting things. I am the type of person that will enjoy a game, but once I see those credits, I am done. But something weird happened to me while I was playing AstroBot. And it's a similar thing that happened in the other installment, so I should have known it was gonna happen here. I became hooked for searching and seeking every little ass bot I saw. I had to get every last one, even the last one, which was a huge pain in the ass to get. I really loved the AstroBots. Sony should work on a peripheral that makes that little fella pop out of our controllers because the way they have designed these bots make them look like you should definitely care about them. There is one traumatic ass scene, Sony, that had my heart literally in little pieces. It was heart-wrenching to see. It even made me question whether I should have my children play this game or not, just because of this one scene. That just goes to show just how well they animated each and every one of the bots. The dances, the celebration, these things are partying and they're partying hard all the time and it shows. And that's another thing. Right now I'm going on an inspirational rant, but I think it needs to be heard. At every angle within this game, the animation team work their ass off. I know, yes, we'll see some of the dances repeat and whatever, but the level of animation through and throughout the entire world, even little side things like little robotic baboons that get fully animated as if they are just as important as the Astrobot themselves. I mean, it's just brilliant. It's brilliant, right? And honestly, to me, being a person who's not a game developer, it feels magical seeing this, right? And it reminds myself of why I play video games, right? I constantly ask myself, why am I sitting down for hours on end playing something? It's because it's inspiring. That's the only conclusion I have come to. Everyone looking all sad. The world is not ending. Just toughen up. Shit. Anyway, another thing that they did with the bots, again, they play the nostalgic card and they play it quite well, because it is amazing when you see a bot that represents a character that you forgot about. There was a little dumbass looking robot that was in a first person platformer called Jumpin' Flash. Man, when I saw Jumpin' Flash, man, I was like, man, I remember, I was there. I played that game and I hated it. But I remember just being so excited to play PlayStation. You know, I remember playing the first time I played Jumping Flash, it was on a demo disc. It was on a demo disc, and I kept playing that bad level over and over and over, trying to convince myself that this is the next stage, this is the next level of gaming. Man, how time has flown. So look out for bots from series that you forgot about. And if you played the game, let me know in the comment section of which game you were reminded of because one of these bots were from that game. I actually have a little secret love for platformers. I've beaten all the 3D Mario games except for the one with Bowser's Fury. I haven't gotten a chance to finish that yet, but I've finished most of the Mario platforming games. I really like the way Nintendo does platforming in those Mario games. And the fact that AstroBot is actually a competitor to that now, that speaks volumes. The AstroBot doesn't have the amount of moves that Mario has. For example, Mario has a triple jump, a long jump, a somersault. He has a butt stomp. He has all kind of moves, right? But AstroBot only has laser toes, right? So AstroBot will jump and then like hover for a little bit. And that's the most you're getting from this guy without any of his power augments, right? So the fact that the platforming is so precise in AstroBot, right? The jump feels perfect. Landings feel perfect, right? Most of the time when I die in AstroBot, I know it's because of my performance and not the game. And I think that is key to having an amazing experience playing a platformer. Yeah. So this game was so amazing that I actually put two things in my Amazon cart. I was going PlayStation crazy, and I added a PS5 Pro to my cart and a PSVR 2 to my cart. So while the credits were rolling, I actually decided to turn off my Amazon app or exit out my Amazon app so I wouldn't do something crazy. And I'm glad I did, because later on I came to my senses and I saw the backlog underneath the TV and I said, yeah, nah, ain't happening, man. The game was so good that I actually legitimately thought to myself, I need a PSVR 2, right? And I should just get a PSVR, too many PSs. I should get a PS5 Pro to go along with the PSVR. But then I was like, nah, man, like I'll just replay AstroBot at some point. Maybe I'll get a PSVR. But those who have a PSVR 2, is it worth getting just for AstroBot? I don't know, it's kind of expensive. That's how great AstroBot was, to the point where it got me wanting to kind of get a new console. But I honestly believe that was because I was so hungry for a great platformer. And I think that has been fulfilled by the completion of this game. Now, it is not perfect, right? I know I mentioned it's a perfect platformer, which I think it is, but there's certain things that I kind of don't like, right? So I'm about to get into those things right now. And it's not that I'm hating on the game. keep in mind that these are actually nitpicks. These are like nitpicks, nitpicks. Because you're probably gonna roll your eyes and say, Jabu, man, what you talking about, man? That doesn't even matter. But to me, it matters. That's what makes us artists, right? We perceive, we observe, and we create. So I perceived some things I didn't like. Number one, photo mode. Photo mode should be available to all players from the first second of the game. In fact, put it in the title screen. Put photo mode everywhere, especially for visual appreciators like myself. I want a photo mode. The fact that that photo mode was locked behind some rubbish in the game really broke my heart, Sony. It really broke my heart. I love to take pictures in my games. So the fact that I had to unlock it was lame. I remember playing halfway through the game and just complaining to my brother, bro, they don't got no photo mode. Look how beautiful these worlds are. I can't take photographs the way I want to. I unlocked photo mode. Turns out AstroBot has one of the best photo modes, right? And it's the best for one simple reason. The PS5 controller has a gyro functionality that for the life of me, I can't figure out why this is not in every photo mode, in every game. Because, I mean, let's face it, pretty much every controller has gyro, right? Right. So it is just easier to kind of get your tilt and your angles right with just a slight gesture of a controller than to use dumbass analog sticks to try to fine tune it, right? So AstroBot has one of my favorite photo modes simply because of this feature, right? So I don't like how long it took to unlock. I don't like that. I don't like that. So another thing that I kind of don't like. All right, I don't like the booger alien boss. I don't like that guy. That booger boss thing, he just looks lame to me. Like, I feel like it's about time that AstroBot levels up and graduates and faces bigger, harder, more cooler looking enemies or arch nemesis, right? I don't know how you say nemesis in plural. I hope it was that way. But yeah, the green guy just looks lame to me. Like, he looks like he doesn't really belong anymore. In VR Mission, I kind of accepted it because I was like, okay, well, it's their first game, blah, blah, blah. But then seeing him like a third time, it's just like, nah. Him and all of his cohorts need to just leave AstroBot. They have been conquered. Don't bring them back. Like, they're lame. I just don't like them. I feel like AstroBot and his whole army, his whole world is so cool looking, right? The enemies though, nah. And maybe it works in the favor of the game because I was so annoyed at the enemies that I wanted to kill every last one of them, which is good, which is good. But I feel like we can switch it up now. We can introduce better looking enemies. We can introduce a better arch nemesis to the lovely, adorable robot known as AstroBot, right? Right. So last but not least, here is the one thing that drove me nuts. And honestly, it was kind of spoiled by my brother Blue Zero. Shout out to Blue Zero. No Final Fantasy? What? Like, no Square? What? Like come on, like, Final Fantasy is like synonymous with PlayStation. Like, if you have followed gaming as long as I have followed gaming, that is a no-brainer. Like, I wanted to see an Astro Cloud, an Astro Barrett, an Afro Red 13. Imagine how that would look. Astro Red 13. And honestly, they'll probably treat him the same way they treated Spyro, so never mind. But the fact that there's no Final Fantasy, no Kingdom Hearts, not even Nier Automata is in here, it made me feel sad, man. It made me feel really sad. Like, I wish Square would have said, no, this is a celebration of all things PlayStation. We have helped sold your consoles. We will be in this celebration, right? But nah, man, they're not even in there. I could imagine a little Astronautis, you know what I'm saying? A little Astro Clive, but no, nothing. Nothing. Imagine seeing a Buster Sword on a little Astro Cloud on the back and he does a little sword thing. Oh man, a little sword twirl. Oh man, that would have been sick, But I must confess, I loved seeing Joker I love seeing Persona 5. You know, I thought that was pretty sick. Capcom was here. We didn't get Mega Man. Like, Mega Man's not in here. And we have Street Fighter, but not Monster Hunter. I mean, come on, like, come on, man. Like, I wish I was on that board. I would have been like, hey, come on, bro. I mean, like, people who weren't even alive during that time knows that PlayStation and Final Fantasy are like one, right? But not really. But like really, you know? So they should have had Final Fantasy or some kind of square representation in their game. That would have been quite lovely. This game would have been an 11, not a 10. And I don't even like number scores. I think this is a joke anyway. Anyway, so that's all I have for the dislikes. Now, overall, it took me around 22 hours to completely finish Astro Bot. I think this game is fantastic, obviously. Now, will you think it's fantastic? Is this game worth picking up? I got something to say about that. Okay, so if you own one PlayStation console or device, wait for it to go on sale, especially if you don't like platformers. I said I played platformers because I love them, because I'm actually all right at platformers. Unlike fighting games, I can hold my own. I can collect all the little stupid ass collectibles and see another day, right? But if you don't like platformers, you're probably not gonna like this game. Get it on sale or when it's on premium. If you have 3 or more PlayStation consoles, get this game. Get this game because it is gonna drum up some memories in your little PlayStation memory that will blow your mind. And trust me, I didn't think it would do that. I'm like, I've seen it all before. They can't surprise me. I'm old. But no, like seriously, they pull out some shit from way back when and you're just like, whoa, I remember that, you know? Even if you had a brief encounter with said franchise or said series, right? It's still worth picking up because this is kind of like a little history lesson when it comes to PlayStation, and it's really, really impactful. Now, the final person. If you own all of the PlayStation consoles and paraphernalia, you should have had this game yesterday. Now, I understand, we're busy. A lot of us are adults. This channel is mainly watched by grown individuals 25 and up. So I know you guys' age because I see it in my analytics. So, if you are one of those people who got grays in the beards, you know what I'm saying? Waking up tired and stiff as a board. That didn't come off right. I mean, like, as in flexibility. as in flexibility. You're not as flexible and as spry as you used to be, and you've played all these PlayStation games, you should have already finished Astro Bot like me. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Come on. Appreciate it. You know, let's have some fun with it. Anyway, that's all I have to say about Astro Bot, right? I hope you guys enjoyed this video because I enjoyed making it. If you have no idea who I am, because I like to introduce myself at the end of the video, because if you watched all of this, you might want to think about subscribing or hitting the like button. Anyways, my name is Jabulani Ori, artist extraordinaire, and I love to talk about the visuals in video games. You can check out all my work on my website, jahbu.com. If you are on TikTok, I think that's still around. Did they ban it? I don't know. And Instagram, you can simply follow me at JAHBU_ART, Jabu_art. Currently, I am in between games, so I have no idea what my next video would be on. I'm dabbling with a little bit of Disco Elysium, a little bit of Village Resident Evil. I have a bunch of stuff on my backlog, so I'll probably just pick something random and just... In fact, this channel will probably be more like a little game journal. I wanna be 50-something years old, look back at a history of my opinions in the form of these videos and actually smile. That's actually my goal on this channel. So I'm just gonna wing it. Anyway, my wonderful people, until next time, one love, peace. Playing Astro Bot should be a requirement when it comes to living, because this is an experience, a very fun one indeed. nobody gonna stop me from dancing and playing my video games.